All right, let's talk about the project specifications for Project 4 Color Theory. Okay, so going the wrong way. So we are going to use the black and white solutions from Project 3. Uh, the reason why we're going to do that is we don't have to create new compositions for Project 4 and we can just jump right into Project 3. Um, Ideally, the compositions are already successful, right? We already decided that they work. Now, it might be that you use the three compositions from Project 3, or depending on the critique, I may have recommended that you use other compositions from your studies because they may work better with color than the finals for 3. But regardless, you're going to use three compositions from Project 3. You're going to use your creativity and your intuition to interpret how you apply the color and where. And again, that's what we're working on this whole semester, is developing your eye and your intuition for activating the space, right? So we're going to activate the space, and this time color is the main ingredient. So I want to talk a little bit about the compositions. Now, we were working with anomaly and concentration and so on in Project 3. I don't want you to emphasize the design concept from Project 3. I want you to do something different to it, make it change. So say, for example, you were using, say, concentration. Well, you can create a color anomaly inside of a concentration structure, right? Or you can say you were doing repetition. Okay, great. Which case you could do gradation in a repetition structure. So I want you to think about using color to make the composition different. Now, that's to say that the concepts still work in color. You can have anomaly in color. You can have concentration or gradation or repetition or anything using color, and that's the important part of those 2D concepts, is that they are universal. Okay, so our design process will follow. You're going to use those three compositions. You're going to use the color chord tools. Now, everything that I say in this lecture refers to videos that go into more detail about what, for example, a color chord is. So refer to that video for more details on color chords. Okay, and you're going to select, saying that you're going to need to come back and probably check this out again once you've been through the videos, and refer back to this to make sure you have the specs correct once you understand what all this terminology means. Okay, so you're going to use the color chord tool, and you're going to select various color combinations to apply to your compositions. Now, these color chords are, by definition, they're already considered balanced. And so this makes your task of selecting a palette much, much easier. Your task is to apply those colors in a discriminating fashion, which means be careful. Don't just splat color all over the place. Think about where you're putting it, and think about how you are drawing your eye around the composition. In other words, use that intuition to determine where, how much to put the colors. You may choose to modify the colors by changing saturation or value. Again, I talk about that more in another video. And indeed, I encourage you, and indeed you should modify the colors. You don't really want to use all colors at full saturation and full value. You want to explore the variations in that. But do not change the hue. The hue is the color. So if it's red, that's the color, that's the hue. Don't change those, okay? So there are 4 color chords, and they are composed of 2 tetrads, which are 4 colors, and 2 triads, which are 3 colors, okay? So that's what's going on with that. So now the requirements are, you're going to create 12 different final color solutions, okay? So each one will be a completely different solution. You will use all 3 compositions from Project 3. However, if you don't like the way the composition is working, you can use it only once. You don't have to use it more than once. Okay? You may alter the compositions in any way. In other words, if you think it's too busy, you can turn some layers off or put background colors in the shapes. You can move things, you can change their scale, you can take things out, or you can add things. So you can change them in any way to make them work with your color, okay? And if it's not working, if you just don't like it, just make some new ones, okay? But I don't really encourage you to do that unless it's really turning into a train wreck. But actually, based on what I've seen in the critiques, your composition should be fine. You need to use each color chord at least once. So you've got 2 tetrads and 2 triads, right? So that's 4 different color chords. Okay, you need to use at least 2 monochrome color schemes. Okay, so monochrome is only 1 color, so that's 2. Oops, a typo. 2 solutions may be open. In other words, any colors, however many, however few, whatever you want to do. All right, so this is your chance to hang yourself with color, if you will. Okay, so these are 8 required color schemes, okay, 4, 2, and 2. All right, you also have 4 your choice designs. And so what this means is that you can either do more color chords, or you can do more open or more monochromes, whatever you want to do. So you have 4 your choice designs. You can either pick that from your body of work that you've already done, which I consider a rather weak solution, or you can do 4 completely different designs, which I consider much stronger. Now again, when I'm talking about different designs, I'm talking about color solutions. I'm not talking about changing the actual forms. So this will be a total of 12 final color designs, okay? So really, if you think about how many you've done here, if you did 5 variations, which would be a minimum, that would give you 40 color studies. But you've got a couple weeks to work on this, so I really do expect more than that. And you'll see from the demos that you can work through variations very quickly, just like we've been doing, by working iteratively, right? By saving sequentially along the way and making some changes. Indeed, even a background color can be a big change, okay? You'll use the Peloton color chords, and there's a video on how to use that there. Okay, your final output, remember to save everything in your AI format. You know, you don't, we were having some people saving things directly to JPEG, and then the file is no longer editable. So make sure you always save to the AI format. Then you either export or batch process all your studies and finals as JPEGs. Label your compositions with the appropriate color solution, if it's a tetrad, triad, you know, monochrome, open, whatever. Save everything into a folder, put the studies in a separate folder within your folder, name your folder your last name. This is online, your first name for your on-ground people, and put the folder into the project for folder on the math server. Okay, so looking at the rest of the specs, you are going to post your final compositions, all 12, into your photo section on the class website, and you're going to make an album of your final work. You're going to write a design reflection statement describing your experience, and you're going to comment on at least 3 of your classmates' work. Okay, project is worth 50 points. I look at intuition and creativity. In other words, you know, how are you playing around with things? The development and the depth of the color explorations is huge. You don't learn without exploring. Okay, how well and effective your color concepts are. Did you follow the requirements? Did you do the 12 that I'm asking for? And overall, your final designs. Sometimes it may not be, you know, it's basically I'm just looking at, is this a cool color solution, regardless of whether it followed the instructions or not? Does it work is the question there. See the schedule for details. Download chapter 3 from my book, Color Theory, here. The online resources, of course, are always available, and then another link to the Peloton.com color chords. Okay, so that's basically the specs for this project. All right, refer to the other videos for more details. Cool? Right on.